Hello students, welcome to Drishti IAS. My name is Saloni Nandkyoliar, and in this session we are going to talk about a landmark judgment which has been made by the Supreme Court of India, where the court allowed a minor girl from Puducherry to inherit the caste certificate based on the caste of her mother and not the father. So here the father did not belong to the SC community, but the mother belonged to the SC community, and the child was allowed to obtain the caste certificate based on the caste of her mother, despite the father not belonging to the SC community. So this is being seen as a deviation from the traditional customary laws, the traditional customary rules that we follow in the Indian society. And it becomes extremely important for us because the bench over here that gave this judgment, it had the Chief Justice of India, Justice Suryakant, and he posed a very direct and a very bold question that in these changing times, why can't the caste of a child be decided on the caste of the mother? Why should it always be as per the caste of the father? So this was a very bold, a very direct question that was posed, that has been posed by any Chief Justice of India so far. So it is being seen as a deviation. It is being seen that the times are changing and we're trying to put the fathers and mothers on an equal footing when it comes to the inheritance status of the child. So here we are going to talk about the SC status in India. How are these caste certificates obtained? We'll talk about that. We'll look at some judgments that have been given by the Supreme Court of India in this regard. And then we'll also see that whether this particular judgment is actually going to change any ground reality or not. Alright, so let us start with the basics. The basics that under Article 46, because India is a welfare state, under Article 46, the government of India is mandated to look after the economic and educational interests of the scheduled caste, scheduled tribes, and other backward classes. And rightfully so, because they have been oppressed for centuries. There has been historic discrimination against them. So there are certain reservations also that we know that are provided under Article 15, Article 16, and the government is mandated to work towards the upliftment of these communities. And who notifies these communities? So the President of India. The President of India under Article 341 notifies the SCs, and under Article 342 notifies the STs after consultation with the governor of that state. So this list, it is going to vary from one state to another. Different states are going to have different SCs, different STs, but the president is going to notify them. So now what happens in India for obtaining any caste certificate? There is no single statute, which means that there is no statutory law in India which basically mandates the child to inherit the caste of the father. It is not mandated in India. We just follow the customs. We follow the Hindu customary laws, where it is believed that the child is going to inherit the caste of the father and the woman is also going to inherit the caste of her husband. So these are some customs that we follow in the Indian society. There's no statutory law which mandates this thing. So that is why there have been certain judgments, important judgments like the Valsamma Paul case, where it was said that the woman is going to inherit the caste of her husband. Again, this is no law, which means it can also be changed. There could be exceptions, but ideally this is what happens in the Indian society. Then we also had the Puneet Rai case. Puneet Rai case, where it was said that the child is going to inherit the caste of the father. But again, this is also not a statutory law, which means that here also there could be exceptions. It was said that this is not a hard and fast rule that the child will have to adopt the caste of the father. It is just a custom, it's just a tradition that can be followed, that has been followed, that's why. But otherwise, it can also be changed in exceptional situations. But ideally, we follow this, that the child's caste is decided on the basis of the father's caste. Then something else happened in the Ramesh Bhai case. Ramesh Bhai versus the state of Gujarat case of 2022, where the court said that when a child is basically born in an intercaste marriage, out of an intercaste marriage, deciding the caste of that child on the basis of only the caste of the parents is not going to be the right thing to do. What should be done? That the lived experience of that child should be taken into consideration, whether that child actually had to face the discrimination that has been faced by these communities, or whether he was just born in an upper class family and he was just placed into a lower class family or a scheduled caste family, simply maybe out of conversion or adoption. So many a times, just to take the undue advantage of the reservations or the interests, the benefits that come out of being placed in the SC/ST status, people try to obtain these false certificates also, even if they have not really lived that experience or faced that discrimination. We see this in India as well. So that is why the court said that just the parents' caste should not decide. The caste of the child should be decided on the basis of the lived experience of this child, And even for the case of wife also, simply if a girl, a woman, she was born in an upper class family and she goes and marries an ST boy only to get the benefits that come along with the caste benefits, that should not be entertained. Ideally, we see this happening in the ground level. But in the case of legal disputes, whenever such cases will be taken to the court is going to test the lived experience of that person, whether that's the child or that's the woman or that is the husband, anybody. The court is going to check the lived experience. So this is what the judgments have said. The judgments have time and again said that it is not mandatory for the child or it is not mandatory for the woman to obtain the caste of her husband or for the child to obtain the caste of his or her father. It can be decided based on the caste of the mother also, and ideally it should be decided based on the lived experience of that child. But is this going to change anything on ground? Immediately, no. Because in India, you really do not have to prove this lived experience in order to obtain the caste certificate. You can simply show the caste of your father, the caste of your mother, and you can obtain the caste certificate. You don't really have to prove your lived experience. So that is why not a lot of things are going to change immediately on the ground. This is going to be helpful, as I told you, in the cases of legal disputes. When any challenges, when any disputes are going to be taken to the court is going to analyze the lived experience of that person. And ideally also, what is going to happen in the long run, it is just going to change the mentality, or at least start to change the mentality of the people that we have in India, that everything should be decided on the basis of the discrimination, that you have actually faced the discrimination or not. Do you actually need those benefits or not? And secondly, mothers and fathers or husbands and wives, they should be placed on an equal footing in the Indian society. There should not be a discrimination against men and women in the Indian society. So this judgment is a step towards that direction. Of course, a lot needs to be done right now, but nothing on ground immediately is going to change. But still, it is a step in the right direction because the Chief Justice of India has taken out time to make this important remark or to ask this important question. So that was all for this video. I hope you understood everything that we discussed over here. Now, as always, let us look at a practice question for prelims. In the context of caste determination, the Supreme Court in Ramesh Bhai versus State of Gujarat held that A. A child of an intercaste couple must always take the father's caste. B. Caste status is automatically transferred by marriage. C. The caste of a child is decided based upon upbringing and lived social experience. D. SC status cannot be claimed under any circumstance by the children of mixed parents. Choose the correct option. Please provide your answers in the comments section and we will meet in a new video. Thank you for watching.
For more informative content, like, share and subscribe. And do not forget to press the bell icon to get the notifications.